What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I'm here for a quick one today. Got a couple things that I wanted to talk about. I do want to give because I haven't done it yet, so I wanted to give my 2 cents on the whole MVP situation. You know, the debate between Tua and Tyreek and league MVP and all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. But real quick before I get to that, the Dolphins actually made a move today, which is awesome because it's something that has been talked about. Let's go ahead and pop over really quick and take a look at this. As you can see, the Miami Dolphins, and this is a big deal for a number of reasons, but they have signed Austin Jackson to an extension, a contract extension, through the 2026 season, as you can see here, which is awesome. So that's a 3-year deal. And part of why, this is huge for a couple reasons. I mean, obviously, Austin Jackson has been playing out of his mind this year. He's definitely been playing at a Pro Bowl, if not an all-pro level. He's been absolutely fantastic, which has been quite the turnaround for him in his career, obviously. But also because, we're going into the offseason, or we will go into the offseason, wondering what we're going to be doing with this offensive line. I mean, we still have Teron Armstead under contract for next year, but now we have Austin Jackson locked up. We have other guys, though. What are we going to do with Connor Williams, Robert Hunt? We still have other guys, but we got one of them done. And that's one of the big topics for the offseason is what are they going to do with all these players that they need to re-sign? I mean, we got players all across the roster that we're going to need to re-sign, right? Whether they're draft picks or they're guys that we brought in through free agency or trades or whatever, we got tons of guys that we're going to need to re-sign. And of course, again, another off-season topic, but our cap situation is not the greatest either. Real quick, I do want to say about that, though. Here, let's just quickly wrap this up. I just want to give you these numbers. As you can see him, his deal is a 3-year, $36 million contract with 20.7 guaranteed. So good for him, man. Awesome for him. Love to see it, and especially since he's performing so well. Obviously, it's about a $12 million average per season, but you have to look into the contract details a little further to see exactly how all those numbers play out and what the cap hits are for the next few seasons. But having said that, and with the cap situation, I just want to touch on this really quick. I'm not worried about the cap next year at all. Not in the slightest. I know there's a lot of people, particularly Dolphins fans, who are like, man, this is our window now. And if we don't get it now, we're not going to have the same team next year or the next year. So if we don't get it this year or next year, then we're probably screwed and we're not going to be in our window anymore. Okay, I get that, and to some degree that's true. I mean, here and now, at this moment in time, it is a fact that we have a ton of guys that we need to re-sign. It's a fact that we have cap issues. However, the reasons why that I'm not worried about it are thus. First and foremost, the cap is fictional as fuck. I mean, there are so many ways to work around it, it's absolutely absurd. The first thing is the cap goes up every single year. It literally goes up and gets larger every single year. So that's the first thing. The next thing is things like what just happened today. They will sign players to contract extensions, and then they will figure out the money situation within the contract so that way they can manage. They have people that are professionals at this. Come on, guys. And look, good organizations figure out how to keep their cores intact, and they figure out ways to manipulate it. But you can also rework contracts. Obviously, there will be players that get cut or traded away. Those are things that are going to happen, right? I would venture to guess that Howard, Ramsey, Armstead, some of these guys are going to get contract reworkings, right? They're going to redo the deal. You can also, backload it. You can front load it. You can give them massive bonuses. You can do incentives. There are all kinds of ways to manipulate this shit so that way you can fit it all under that cap. I'm not worried about it in the slightest. I think this, and also because I actually believe that this organization from top to bottom, it's one of the big reasons why I have faith in this team, and I don't consider it to be just blind faith because I'm a Dolphins fan. I think that there are tangible reasons. I think that there are visible reasons. I think that there are legitimate reasons, right, to believe that this team can and will go far this season. And the same thing applies to the offseason and this team. I feel like they actually have all the right pieces in place from top to bottom, front office all the way down. And they're going to get things figured out, and they're going to handle their business, right? They're going to keep a lot of the core intact. They're going to make sure to fucking rework contracts and blah, blah, blah. They're going to figure it out. I'm not worried about the cap in the slightest. Also, let's also throw out the final thing is Stephen Ross is not afraid, and one of the things that he's always deserved credit for, the one thing that he didn't deserve credit for until recently, or rather until he hired Mike McDaniel, was his football decisions. He was always great in the community with community service and stuff like that. He was great building the stadium and the practice facility, and he's always been great about writing checks. And so Stephen Ross is not afraid to do that. He's a billionaire. He wants to win. He wants to get a championship down in Miami. He will write these guys big-ass bonus checks if he's got to keep these guys around because he wants to keep this shit going, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So not worried about it at all or in the slightest. The Dolphins will get things figured out. So I think Dolphins fans can rest and stop worrying about that. I think especially right now when we should be enjoying the ride that we're on. So if there are any Dolphins fans out there that are concerned about it, put those, worries to rest. Because I just don't think you need to. So real quick, I do want to wrap this up with just a couple thoughts on, the MVP situation right now. Obviously, it's generally a quarterback award. A non-quarterback hasn't won it in a super long time. A wide receiver's never won it, right? There's all these things. I do think the conversation should expand out past quarterbacks, but let's keep it honest. I mean, the MVP usually is a quarterback award, and then you have, offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year for anyone else on offense or anyone else on defense, right? So, I mean, it's not like it's completely unfair in that regard. But here's the thing. As far as I'm concerned, obviously I think Tyreek has a case. I think both Tua and Tyreek have very good cases for winning and being talked about as the league MVP. And I think that obviously, if and when, because I think he will hit it, when Tyreek hits that 2K, obviously it's never been done. It's all phenomenal stuff. And again, I mean, even now before he hits it, I still think he should be in the conversation, and he has been, this whole time. But for me, I go one of two ways. If I had it up to me, if it was my choice, I actually tend to side with anybody who thinks that there should be a co-MVP situation. Because frankly, you can have good debates on either side of the conversation for Tua, for Tyreek, and you can say that Tua's making Tyreek better and Tyreek's making Tua better. I mean, depending on if you're a Tua hater or Tua lover, you might fall onto one side of that, or the other. I mean, there are all kinds of things that can place people on different sides of this conversation. But honestly, I mean, there are good reasons for both of it. But the thing is, though, is and like certain people like Emmanuel Acho and others have said recently, I think it's silly to honestly, talk about one without the other. I think that they are perfect for each other. Let's also note, though, really quick, a couple interesting points. I don't have the statistics in front of me, and I probably should, although I just kind of thought of this, spontaneously, so it wasn't planned. Although if you want to, you can Google it and find out for yourself that I'm not just making this up. But a couple things that I want to point out. Yes, Tua is amazing when Tyreek is on the field, and so is this offense. But if you look at the numbers with Tyreek off the field, Tua is still phenomenal. He doesn't need to have Tyreek on the field to do great things. Does it make him better? Does it make this team and offense better? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, his numbers are still fucking great without Tyreek. So to say that Tua can't operate at a high level without him is absolutely insane. Let's also note, though, that Tyreek his numbers and statistics, now it's partly because he's the main focus and he wasn't the main focus in KC, but his numbers are way better than they ever were with Patrick Mahomes. And it's really not even close. Let's also note, though, that when Tyreek is on the field, but Tua's not on the field, Tyreek's numbers dip significantly. So take those things, for what you want. If you wanted to really look at it, Tua probably is the one that if you had to choose between them, you don't want to lose Tua because you can survive without Tyreek. And there really, isn't actually that much of a drop-off. Okay? But he is still phenomenal, obviously makes his team a lot better, and you would rather have him than not have him. And he definitely deserves it. But I'm with the co-MVP thing, bro, because honestly, I think that they both deserve it, and you really can't talk about one without the other. So I'm down for the co-MVP situation. Now, probably not going to happen. I know it has happened before in the past. I'm pretty sure it's happened before in the past. But if that's not the case, if I'm being honest, the way that I would do it is I would give Tua the MVP, and then I would give Tyreek Offensive Player of the Year. And I think that's a fair and even shakeup of things, and that includes the reality of the fact that, the MVP is a quarterback award, even though I don't think it necessarily should be, at least considering the fact that they have OPY and DPOY, OPOY, Offensive Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. It doesn't bother me that much that it's a quarterback award and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, that is the reality. So those are my thoughts. Like I said, I would do co-MVP. If not, I would give MVP to Tua and then OPOY, Offensive Player of the Year, to Tyreek and call it a day, bro. But see, at the end of the day, though, and both of these guys have said this, what matters is winning that Super Bowl, getting to and winning the Super Bowl. So I love it. I love to hear that from them. And I think that the accolades will follow. They will come along the way. But that is the most important thing, and hopefully we'll be there in February. I think we will be. So let's keep that rolling. That's all I got. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, spread my channel, my videos around. I would greatly appreciate that, trying to continue and resume building my channel, especially as I'm also hoping to, soon join up with Roundtable Sports. I do have a meeting with them next Tuesday, so hopefully I'll be able to start working for and with them to be able to, really get myself full throttle into what I want to do as my profession, as my career, and with my life, because this is what I'm passionate about. So anyway, if you could, throw comments down in the comments section, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share my channel and videos around and all that good stuff. And let's keep this train rolling, baby. Fins up all day, every day.
Miami wins it.